Hey everybody, this is Craig from 9 Games, and today I'm going to do a quick video of another versus. I got a cold, so I'll probably cough a million times. This is a versus that actually came because me and Kyle were debating whether, let me do this properly, because I wanted to do this video down the line too. I was talking about when girls or feminists talk about there's no strong female roles in games and blah blah blah. Everybody automatically turns to Alex Vance, and understandable. However, there's one that they overlook, and that was Maria from Silent Hill 2, because her whole purpose of her creation was to torment a man into suicide, because that's the canon ending. So they should really use that if they want to, but they just look at her as like, oh my god, she's a sex object. Yes, that was the purpose. But anyways, this is about Limbo versus Braid. Now, we got into it because Kyle said that they should consider the princess in Braid, because in the same vein, that's what it was. I don't like to give out the story of Braid because I really want people to play that, and that's newer than Silent Hill 2. Now, this sucks. This hurts horribly. What I did is I played Braid, and I beat it in like 50 minutes. And then I went and I said, you know what, I'm going to play Limbo, because me and Dan have gotten into it before about Braid versus Limbo. And Dan played Limbo before he played Braid, and obviously I played Braid when it first came out, and then I played Limbo. And they're both the same game in the sense that they're 2D side-scrolling. There's 2D side-scrolling puzzle games. Fair enough. They're, however, two vastly different games. Braid tells a complex story about a dude who's a piece of shit. That's all I'll give away for the story. Limbo tells you a story without using any words, and the story doesn't actually come together in Limbo, except for what you get from the title, until the end. Now, the puzzles is where the game really varies. The puzzles in Braid are solely reliant on time and the way that time is perceived within that world. Whereas, you know, one world will all be about pressing the X button for reversing time, and the other one will be about reversing time with pieces or parts of the world that won't move with your time going backwards. And then, you know, you progress on having a ring that slows down time within an orb of an area, or another one where when you move forward, time moves forward, when you move back, time moves back. So there's a variation, but it's split up by worlds. And then you get to the last world, which I won't ruin, is totally awesome. Limbo is figure out how to survive very quickly, and you will die a lot. Whereas Braid, you don't die. And Limbo has pretty much the ultimate punishment, because if you don't figure out how to solve this puzzle very quickly, you will either be electrocuted, crushed, stabbed, impaled by a spider's arm, killed in a bear trap, buzzsaw, drowning, falling far distances. And what I like about it is Braid is something that makes you think over time, and Limbo is something that makes you think very quickly. And then at the end, this is what made it awesome to me. Limbo, I think Limbo was a million times easier than Braid, because Braid really frustrates people. I've seen it frustrate people. It is a frustrating game. Limbo, you die, you go back to the checkpoint, which isn't far from where you died, and then you're like, this is coming, I gotta do something quick. So in that sense, I think Braid is a lot harder as far as straining your brain. It's just Limbo's a longer game. Braid can be done very quickly, especially when you're going back through a second playthrough. I beat both games twice. I got all the stars in Braid, and I got all the eggs in Limbo. So I guess it's fair to say that I thoroughly love both games, for the simple fact that I spent my Saturday night playing through both of them. And I would strongly suggest both games to anyone who hasn't played them. So I guess this isn't really just a versus. This is kind of like a plug for both games. But it is a versus, because when it comes down to it, if I pick one over the other, I will always pick Braid. Simply because the story of Braid makes it that much better. Any side-scrolling game that's still 2D that you can play more than once is on Mario Brother level to me. And Braid is there, and so isn't Limbo. However, to get the full effect of Limbo, you have to get to that last wall. And those who beat Limbo, you know what I'm talking about. And when you go through that wall, you go, oh, that's awesome. You know what I mean? But, whereas Braid, I like to say whereas, because for some reason it calms my throat. So I count how many times I said it. Drink to it if you may. Braid is just a build up to like, you see this guy, he's confused. You see this guy, he's kind of a dick. You see this guy, he's really a dick, and then you see the end, you're like, fuck this guy. That's what I like about Braid. It's progressive. Limbo was not progressive. Limbo, you can kind of guess what's going on. Braid, you always know what's going on, even though it's confusing as shit. And you know what the quest is about. Limbo, you don't know what the quest is about until the end. But as far as like giving everything away, I think they're both on the same scale at the end. They both had a impact on me when I played the games, where I was just like, oh my god, this was amazing. Like, the people behind the games are amazing. But I'm going to give Braid the edge simply because it was created by one dude. I know you can argue that. I watched the indie movie. You know, there are pieces from other people that came together, and he did eventually hire a dev team, but I saw the way that he actually made the game, and he made this really shitty prototype, or shitty looking prototype, but it was that game that you're actually playing. There's people to come through, polish, you know, touch up, refine, balance everything in the game, but the fact of the matter is there was one dude behind Braid, and there was multiple people behind Limbo. So, I don't know. If Limbo came out first, maybe I would lean more towards it, but the fact that Braid was like huge and convention breaking, I think that as good as Limbo is, it piggybacked off the success of Braid to be what it is today, because Braid kind of set the path for 2D side scrollers to come back, whereas they were niche before. You think of stuff like Muramasa and all that stuff, Odin Sphere. You think of those 2D side scrolling ones, and you're like, they were really niche. Unless it's Super Mario Brothers or something from Nintendo along that line, it's not going to sell. And then Braid came through as an indie game that was a side-scroller and just fucking destroyed records. So I'm going to have to give the edge to Braid on that one and just say that Braid is the better game. And because the reason that I said before was story. But the fact of the matter is that if I think I already rated Braid a 9. I took a point away because of its length. I feel like it could have been a little bit longer, but it's totally worth the money because you're not paying $60 for the game. And if I was to give Limbo a grade, I would also give Limbo a 9. And I think that's simply because one of the achievements on it is just so ridiculous that I won't get it. It's the one I don't have. And bravo to you if you got that fucking play through the game without shutting it off in, I think it's 5 hours. Good for you. I will never be able to do that. But... and there were some things that were just a little ridiculous. But I liked it. I liked it a lot. Both those games get a 9. Braid, you get the edge for actually breaking conventions, whereas Limbo was kind of more like straightforward. It didn't manipulate time. It made you think very quickly. So it was kind of like Braid went this way, or every game goes this way, alright? Every side-scrolling game, like that, same path. Braid went like this, way off the path, and then Limbo just kind of went like above and beyond the other ones and shattered them. I think that Limbo is better than any fucking Mario game that's come out in the last 2 generations, and Braid is definitely better. So, get both those games. Braid, you win. Thank you guys for watching.